Hi everyone, my name is Pisant Balyozyan.
And my name is Carla Abrahamyan.
We are happy to introduce you to the InnovatEd Talks, part of AGBU Germany's Education Stream initiative. Our Armenian General Benevolent Union's German chapter was established in 2020. As an organization, we are involved in different aspects from culture, humanitarian aid, and education, and the Education Stream is a specialized group of active individuals from different educational backgrounds bringing forward innovative and engaging topics. These topics are beneficial for the public. I am a consultant in the field of photovoltaic solar energy, and I hold a PhD in microsystems engineering.
And I'm a research scientist in cardiovascular sciences, and I did my PhD in molecular pharmacology. Welcome to InnovatEd Talks. We will be hosting experts in the education field from leading global organizations, and we would like to discuss innovative education and career orientation topics that would address current opportunities and challenges in education globally.
You can follow us on our social media network on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, found in the description below.
Hello everyone, greetings from Berlin. I'm Carla Abrahamyan.
And I'm Lucine Sarafian. And together we are going to meet today Seda Papoyan. Seda, you are the founder and managing director of FemInno, executive director of Relq, and Girls in Tech Armenia chapter. You've spent over 15 years in the tech industry, communication and project management, with a specialty in nonprofits, social entrepreneurship, and fundraising. Born and raised in Yerevan, you're also a social activist, promoting women's rights, supporting and empowering girls and women as equal members of society. And in your free time, you're also a mother of 3 children. Is that correct?
That's right. That's correct, yes. I'm very happy to meet you girls here.
Welcome.
Did we miss anything, Seda Jan?
Not really. I mean, you mentioned a lot from my job. I would just mention that I am a highly energetic person living in Yerevan. I always say that I was born, raised, and hopefully will be here forever. And happy to connect with you from here and represent whatever is going on around in the motherland Armenia, around tech and women engaged in tech.
So perhaps you could introduce our audience to your journey and your motivation to build the tech startups that you have.
Sure. When someone asks me how come you are in this industry doing things for women in tech and innovation when your background itself is not in tech or engineering at all, and then such questions take me to my childhood when my parents thankfully gave me all freedom to choose whatever I liked, whatever potentially was my passion. But then when I reflect enough, I realized that there was no one like me to show what the world is about and how girls at the age of school years could potentially find their best, their dream job, their dream profession. And maybe that was one of the reasons that I didn't choose something in science. Recently, last year, I had a TED Talk in Yerevan, and I mentioned frankly that I believe that in me, Armenia has lost a scientist, but because I realized that something happened with me in that area, I don't want more scientists, female scientists, to be lost, and that was one of the reasons I started a journey which is in the essence of it is to empower more and more girls and women towards areas which are theirs. I usually say that I don't want everyone to be engineer, to be in tech. I don't want every other girl to choose coding or to do innovations. I mean, they can learn languages if they wish. But the idea is that I really want those number of potentials not to be lost if they are there and if that's what their life journey should be. So that's how it grew into something I used to do as a side job more engagement, volunteering when I started Girls in Tech Armenia chapter. And then I realized that nothing could be sustainable if we continue it as a volunteering effort. And then there's how at some point we, as a team who grew out of different initiatives, I started as a person organization. And then out of those different initiatives, now we have a team, a small team, which from time to time grows into a bigger group of people who do really big things. I think we will have time to reflect on those as well. But the whole journey is about empowering girls and women in, we now say, innovation, which includes women in business, science, and tech.
This is really important work that you're doing.
Yes, definitely. And as someone that has been part of the tech industry for long enough in Armenia, how would you describe the tech ecosystem there now?
Well, the answer would be different if we talked before COVID time, like before 2020, because we had a really interesting and diverse and growing environment for all participants, including girls and women who decided to go into the field, into the industry. But it changed a lot after 2020 because of COVID, but then also because of the war and the turbulent environment we have on the ground. Of course, a lot is directly connected to funding opportunities. And what we see for the recent years, especially supporting as a non-profit organization, doing a lot of different initiatives and projects for the startup ecosystem itself, particularly trying to support female founders, we now realize that there are more and more difficulties for women, because when it comes for funding, and being in tech and in following the industry yourself in different countries in the world, that there are really very big financial difficulties in the industry itself. Layoffs all around the world, like financial instability all over. So that brings even more difficulties for female founders, because when it comes to funding, when it comes to trust to female founders, when there is not enough fund, then even less go to women. So this is something that we clearly saw for the past several years, and that was even shown in the process of our own startup competition. Every year within our conference, FemInno, we do a startup competition where one of the key criteria for applicants is to have at least one female founder. The idea is to support and push female leadership in startup journeys. So when we look into the numbers in 2022, there we had really good and interesting startups, applications. By the way, we tried to do it international with a very good focus on Armenia, but of course trying to engage regional, at least regional competition in order to have like better results. And there we had a very good 10 finalists, which then had the pitching session and got financial awards. But then for the next year, which was 2023, we at some point decided to skip the competition itself because of lack of quality applications we received. Of course, there sometimes we see that there are male-founded startups which try to engage a female in order to be able to apply to such competitions. But even that didn't help. And at some point we realized that we cannot have 10 finalists, quality finalists, to organize the pitching session during the conference. This is also something that we follow, unfortunately, but we try to initiate and look into different opportunities to change the situation, at least to change the situation for the local Armenian startups and those girls, brave, bold girls who decide to do startups on the ground.
So I'm not someone in the tech field like you two, but I was doing a little bit of reading into the field, and it seems that, to me at least, I don't know if it's the latest statistics, but that Armenia still has a higher percentage of representation of leadership roles in the tech sector rather than other countries. It is at, as far as I read, 51%. So you would say that still the situation in Armenia is kind of the women's quota is better than everyone else, or do you feel that the reality does not reflect this?
Yeah, that's something we are usually proud of, those stats. Of course, when it comes to digging into stats, I would say that those are not, 51 is too high, but sometimes it happens in different sources. But clearly, we have, as a country, we do have, if not the highest, but at least one of the highest representation of women in the whole industry. Things that I was mentioning was about starting startups themselves as female leadership doing things. But when it comes to representation in companies, tech companies, there are clearly a lot of women, and this is growing over the years. And when we look into different data, for example, the data of university applicants and students, there we see almost half in engineering faculties, which means at some point, if not half, but clearly about 40% will be there in the engineering fields. Of course, the statistics that we have currently also include different roles in tech companies, meaning HR, marketing, and other non-tech actors in tech companies. But still, even that is really high when we compare with other countries. And this, when someone asks why, the answer is like very short and clear to us. Armenian women are really active on the ground. Whatever field it is, they try to put enough efforts for enough results, let's say. And then when it comes to reaching certain goals, they commit enough to reach the positions they target. So basically, when we have an open area where there are enough opportunities for girls and women, and I would not be humble not to mention that also our own efforts as an organization support this, how to say, at least the atmosphere, the environment where a number of girls and women find that inner power to set certain goals for themselves. This helps a lot to move the field, and then to also have statistics like this when it comes to participation. And one thing that here is important to mention, unfortunately, even having this big number of participation, it is not about leadership at all, which is something we now work towards a lot, because when it comes to leaderships, I can count on my one hand leaders of tech companies in Armenia who are female, which clearly shows another problem, that the effort is there, the results are there, but still we need more and more push to trust the leadership roles to women as well, so that there we have more or less equal positions.
Yeah, and when it comes to public policies in that case, in terms of gender inequality, in terms of boosting female leaders, is there anything that you can share with us related to public policies in Armenia that is boosting the ecosystem?
Not policies, unfortunately, not yet, let's say, and hopefully this will change. But there are some public programs, but a number more international, like programs and projects by international organizations, approaches, some policy making or at least advocacy programs, which help to feature the importance of equal opportunities. And a number of programs, including ourselves, pushing the idea of giving enough opportunities to women, also to women, so that then we have equal results, because otherwise more than half of the population of Armenia are women. So when we lose that potential, or even partly lose that potential, then we lack and we have difficulties in economy. I mean, this is just when it comes to like pragmatic approach, it's about economic development. Give also women enough opportunities, and I would be happy to see some policy level reforms for gender equality, even empowerment for women, so that we see direct results, because you know that the hardworking and multitasking skills of women are there, and especially when it comes to Armenian women doing a lot, then we will definitely see enough results towards this.
Actually, it's very impressive to see the number of initiatives in Armenia that are in the tech field or in AI. We had in the last episode, we had a conversation with Susanna Shamakian from FAST Foundation. And there you see that they introduced also within the Generation AI program in schools for 500 to 600 students to learn how to code. And I would say these are very unique initiatives that not per se exist everywhere in the world. So kudos to all these initiatives, to also these women. Maybe you can also give a shout out to a few names, and we can then talk specifically about your, for example, Coder Dojo, so program that was also very important.
Yeah, and going back to actors like FAST Foundation and their AI program, a number of foundation, and that was I was mentioning that it's more like grassroots organizations who initiate and push things towards change rather than the public policies. One thing that helped more or less in terms of public policy is the new, the different changes in educational system. And one of them was towards STEM, new type of STEM program, which is now implemented in all schools of Armenia. And that's directly linked with one of our, several of our programs. Before this STEM criteria and STEM program was included in local schools, we did a program and we joined a network like Coder Dojo back in 2018, which was the reason to do so was again to, back then we were saying that every child should start learning coding as if as they do writing and reading, because this is a technology era, and if you want to sustain the development, then you should know how to code, or at least understand the code. That's how we're starting a program for kids, and then back later we did it also for after the war, we did it for a number of displaced kids from Artsakh. The idea of doing it and being an organization working towards women in tech topic, there we have total equality. We say we try to engage at least 50% young girls in the clubs where they, at that age, when they don't have a number of prejudices, or they don't have a certain vision about the setups later on in the industry. Later on, we also concentrated a lot towards STEM professional orientation for girls specifically. And one of our favorite programs was STEM Power Girls Armenia. That was a wonderful example how, with a very small budget, by the way, and that's you may not even imagine how small budget we had. With a very small budget, we managed to engage 250 young girls from all regions of Armenia, who just had any interest in any STEM field, science, like chemistry, physics, whatever. So we did a traveling small, several-day traveling camp in the regions to inspire them with role model chemists, physics professionals, like young role model girls. And after that program, and the idea was that then inspire them to do a project themselves and to see whether they like it. We showed them the beauty of chemical experiments, the difficulties in physical experiments, etc. And then by the end of the program, I am happy to now on the go, just walking around the street, and one of those occasions was recently last week. I met girls who said, by the way, from the right after your program, when you came to our village, I found out how important is data science, which was nothing to me as a word even. So a girl from Areni village in Armenia, she said, okay, then I had the difficulties with my parents who usually support me. But then what they did, after several months of negotiations with my parents, they decided to support me in this new, totally different name of direction. I am now studying data science in one of the Yerevan universities. So this is a very small example how the very small program to inspire or just show what is going around in the world, so that girls and young people realize that this is something they could grab as a profession. And I am very happy to see similar programs more and more, because the more you activate the topic, the more you touch upon the problem, then the more organizations are out there to realize it, to start initiating different ways. And all efforts are important because they bring more and more talent to show and find out.
Yeah, you're right. It's very important to have role models in as women in different fields to know that you can make it. Do you have one yourself?
When it comes to role modeling, well, there are a number of course, people, men and women who I follow, and I would say that they inspire me a lot. But more, frankly speaking, it's these young, new, found, like explored talent are those who inspire me most, because when I see how a young girl takes a decision, and puts efforts to reach anything they choose, this is something that, and when I sit back and realize that this is also because of my own efforts towards this journey, there I totally get inspired, like more than any other book would inspire me, because these are real lives that we touch upon, and nothing is compared to that energy that comes back to me.
I'm already feeling inspired myself. So with this conversation, you already mentioned again a success story about this Areni girl. Do you have any success story in a later stage of somebody's career? I don't know, some sort of startup founder in Armenia, from Artsakh, that could also motivate our audience?
Yeah, of course. Right now we are on. Let me tell you a story of a young girl who I am sure a lot of people will hear still. There is another young girl from from a village in Kotai. She is a wonderful young person, and at the moment when she was accepted, we found her at school age, when she was a high schooler, and when at some point she had difficulties, she was accepted to Bremen University in Germany, in the technology, one of the technology faculties. And by the way, she is doing something in data science. So she had difficulties in financing, like funding her scholarship, to finalize her scholarship, because she received, if I'm not mistaken, 80% scholarship, but the rest was difficult for the family to cover. And here, of course, by the way, we have a very nice scholarship for female talent for such cases, and we named it our beloved friend Sonam Natsakanyan, who was gone in a tragic accident 2 years back. But to inspire others with her story, we decided to start the scholarship. And Mary, one of the examples that she got boosted this final portion of her fund to study in Bremen. And right now, when she was in Yerevan, every time she is back to Yerevan to meet us and to update us with her successful journey. I always say you should give us an interview, because we will not remember the different things you mentioned, how she started the Google ambassador stuff in her university, how she was invited to IBM something as a young leader, talent, whatever. So what she does, I am sure at some point by the end of her studies, she will be known not only in Armenia, not only in Germany where she studies, but also as a young Armenian person in doing something in innovative fields in technology, and she is very much interested in biotech. We started the project idea of Box from Artsakh. There we decided to put into it those creative things, handmade things of those who are not digital, but to boost this process through the digital skills that we develop together with, again, women and girls from Artsakh. So this is one very, I would say, motivating, inspiring story of our own on the ground, on our table and our daily life, where we see how people, how small things are important or can be important, and we see this changes and how we light up different lives which are already which had already enough in this life. So we are really very much excited about this project. Now sending boxes all over from Canada to Australia, and just feeling this warmth coming from all over, especially from diaspora.
Let me tell you that I received my box 2 days ago, and it was a delightful present. When I opened it, every single handcraft that is inside the box, it's really a gift to the heart. So I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna distribute it also throughout my family and friends. Back in Argentina, we regularly don't receive these things that far. So I feel very blessed to have received that box, and I thank you a lot.
I'm very happy to hear it.
We'll add everything in the description. Whoever also from the audience would like to
collaborate, contribute. Yes, definitely. Go for it. You won't regret it.
Maybe you can tell us also about your worldwide projects and conferences. Where do we see you next?
Yes. So the idea of starting FemInno, which is the mix of two words, female and innovation. And I already mentioned that we decided to position ourselves towards innovation, not only technology, where we put women in business, science, and technology. And that's how it brought us to innovation term. So FemInno was started first as a new branding for Armenia. Towards the female potential that is there, and also to push the female leadership, which we still lack, unfortunately. But in order to kind of have these two parallels, and first bring new attention to our country, which is still growing, whatever the difficulties in the financial stability, it's still growing in terms of technology and the talent on the ground. So we decided to bring the attention to Armenia as a new hub for female talented leadership. And on the other side, we decided to also export this new brand of Armenia, not only just do it on the ground, celebrate it enough, but also to show it off to different countries. Why not? So the testing of it was some community events on the East Coast US last year, about this time around March. So basically those community events hinted us that whatever we do on the ground is not enough, because there are people all over, especially diasporans who do want to be a real part of it, and not necessarily every end of July where we do the FemInno conference in Armenia. They can happen to be in Yerevan. So basically we said, why not we take it out to their own premises, wherever they live, from time to time, like create a model of traveling conferences. So we tested it in San Francisco. That was the first satellite. By the way, we called it satellite conferences. A kind of the motherland is the main, and then we create satellites all around it. So San Francisco was a brave move, I should say, because it was also in a very different situation after September last year. A lot was planned, and it was a political decision of my own to still go for it, because a number of things were canceled and we were not in the mood of doing things. But then I realized that if we stop, that's what usually others want us to do, to stop, to get into depression, and I mean to whatever, to close down things. Instead, we say, okay, it's difficult, but we will go for it. And I'm happy to mention that after San Francisco, because we had, of course, we had some expectations, but then these expectations went even beyond what we really planned, and the idea that we decided to unite the local community wherever we go, and to unite it around Armenia and Armenian female talent and leadership was not only justified and kind of praised, but we realized that there is a good importance in it. We were able to connect people who lived all the time in the same city, being Armenians, knowing about each other, but never having the opportunity to meet, to discuss, and never having initiated stuff. So this was very empowering for all the participants to see how these young girls from all over Yerevan to come to San Francisco to put this together and to start new things. This was also empowering, of course, and inspiring for ourselves. And then we said, okay, that's the idea works. This was the idea validation thing, and we should move, go to different places, unite this effort, and at some point, which now we are working towards, to create a platform where all these different sides not only can meet each other, but also start creating each other together, things that might come from us as an organization, but those could also be initiated from a member on that real platform. Now we are working towards different membership models, thinking of different opportunities, including an angel fund for female startups, whatever. So there are different components that are now being put together so that whoever joins us, it's not conference for conferencing. It's conference is just initiative to meet, to start something which then can go beyond what is the real plan of ourselves. Now we next satellite is FemInno Sydney 24, which is early March, and then we have plans for Berlin, by the way, and I am sure that you both will have your own contribution to that, because wherever we go, we look into, first of all and most of all, into the local Armenian community, and opening up the doors for locals, not importantly Armenians, to join and see the power of Armenian community and Armenian women, of course.
Yes, it's funny that you mention it. So Australia is coming on the pipeline, Berlin, Armenia, I guess, Yerevan as well. We both met at Web Summit this year, actually last year in Lisbon. So did you feel inspired from this type of huge tech conferences in which you can get ideas and try to extrapolate whatever you are seeing there in order to make your conference top one in the tech industry?
Of course, and that's why I usually go to meet people like you, and I'm very happy to for having that chance. There's different things that go on all around the world. They teach a lot, because whatever we do, it's not something new. And on the other hand, there are a number of things that change in reality, and especially having a rich experience of conferences like Web Summit that I love following, and not only in Lisbon, but now they do Qatar and Rio de Janeiro. So it's not only Web Summit as well. So basically, wherever there is a chance to jump into and learn things, but also to connect well, because you know how big is Web Summit. There are a number of opportunities, and if you go to such places with certain vision to grab things that could help you back home, that becomes very effective, and that's what I do usually. And definitely they are important and very much useful.
Do you also collaborate with the other tech companies?
And I have a very inspiring story here for you, where the first year we did FemInno, we had a very interesting and inspiring woman, a New York bestseller author and activist, feminist, Francesca Cavallo. She is one of the authors of the bestseller book for girls, Good Night Stories for Rebel Girls. So the first year, being the first conference, I managed to convince Francesca to be a speaker in Yerevan. And at that year, we have a very good partner in Poland, which is where they are doing Perspective Women in Tech Foundation. And the founder of this initiative, and by the way, this, if I'm not mistaken, that's the biggest female women in tech conference in Europe. They do a conference of 10,000 people in Warsaw. And our friend now, the founder of this initiative, was also a speaker in Yerevan. And that was the reason they met with Francesca. And this Polish girl comes up to me and says, how, Seda, tell me the secret, how you managed to bring Francesca to Yerevan? Because we tried several years to bring her to Warsaw and no way. But that was the reason that we connected them well, the Polish founder and this activist. And next year, which was 2023, in Warsaw, Francesca Cavallo was the opening speaker of Warsaw Conference, thanks to Yerevan, Armenia, small, relatively small conference like ours. And this type of stories help us to move on and realize that even small things, small sizes could work well and bring change wherever they can.
This is really inspiring.
Yeah, definitely. And let me tell you what I think about why Francesca went to FemInno. I'm definitely sure that it was because she's driven by your sense of purpose and the way you're communicating all your ideas to her, probably. But in those terms, I was thinking you are working with a lot of with a lot of people, gender inequality, people with less opportunities. I was wondering how you take care of yourself in the era of burnout, in the era of mental health.
Also securing funding amid Corona times and amid war, and it's quite tough.
Definitely. So I don't know, can you share your secrets?
Yeah, there is not a secret, but that's a question I hear really often, and I try to think about it, considering the different stages that we go through. It's Corona, then difficulties on the ground with Armenia, around Armenia, and then so much to do, whatever the results, whatever the difficulties. But then when I sit back and think where this energy comes from, especially myself being a mom of 3 and having family life and everything, the secret, I think, and I came to, I think, is in the type of work I do. Usually when you work in a company, you work for a business. I work in a company which works for people. So basically this is where I find the energy that comes back all the time. Like every every end of a day, I just sit back and realize that I met someone, I helped this person, our program supported this girl, the other thing that moved on. But whatever we do, it's directly linked to a person. And when it comes to changing, touching, and impacting positively lives, there you see it's, of course, there are different thankful moments, etc., that you see and receive, but it's not only those thankful moments that help you just get this energy. It's yourself just sitting back. And one thing is very interesting, that it's not only myself, it's every other girl who joins our team. At some point, it's not just, we don't discuss it, but I see how another one within the team sits back and receive this energy, how good it is to support, to change someone's life, you know. And that's really unique when you compare to any type of business where they create a lot of money. So it's just incomparable. So I think that's the secret. However, I think that's really important for me.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I was also wondering, because all of the initiatives that you're holding together, that you're putting together, are related to the network. We both met each other because of the AGBU network, and I was wondering if you have any suggestions for our audience also in order to understand and enhance their own networks and the value of it.
Yeah, definitely. And as I mentioned, when we realized that now around FemInno, we have already created this network of different people, we realized that it is really important to nurture the network, to be able to keep up these connections well. So one thing I totally would advise anyone who see a value in any connection, being it a group of people or two of them or how many, doesn't matter. It is important to find a model of keeping up. So this is really important. And from our perspective, that is the reason we are now, and maybe by the time this podcast is published, we might have come up to finalizing this model for ourselves. And in case that is effective, then we are ready to share, because we have been doing stuff a lot and keeping up, like trying our best. But still, we are now in a process of, I would say, making it more official and trying to create concrete ways. Otherwise, it's good to, at the end of the day, say, I am a part of this network, but what does that mean in reality? So we are now working towards this concrete means that people would not only just feel good of relating them to something, but taking something, a role in that network, in that group, in that organization, which is usually very common around the diaspora, especially.
Thank you.
So perhaps could you share any last remarks with our audience?
Yeah, one thing I usually try to mention, if I miss it in my communication, is that we never, when it comes to working for women towards potential, etc., it's never about counter discrimination. Of course, there are programs which we do for women only. In a number of cases, it's for girls only. But here we usually say that's because there is the need. So basically, what I usually try to explain in different situations and in different programs, that we don't, as women, we don't need to waste time to prove ourselves first and then move to the next stage of creating results. Instead, this first stage of proving ourselves as talent, as leaders, as whoever in different roles, we just need to go directly to creating results. So whatever is done by myself, by the initiatives I I am in charge, are just trying to clear up this first stage. We don't need to prove and waste time on proving ourselves. Just give us the opportunity. And there it comes. We, at some point, I hope that we will not need organizations like ours. I would really happy and lucky to, within my life period, to realize there is no need of doing such organization. I will have enough good ideas to work on if there is no need to do that.
Yeah, it's also, I think education is really important because we need all components of a society to help change, I think, not just the women. And this comes with a lot of effort and many years to achieve.
Yes, exactly. And just as a final remark, thank you for connecting with me. And I am sure that this initiative also, and when you talk about the importance of education, being it for girls, for boys, whoever, for adults also, and this is very important to spread the word, to focus on and showcase such initiatives so that there are more and more opportunities for everyone, especially when it comes to Armenia and Armenians.
Yeah. Thank you, Lucine, also for introducing me and our audience to you. And I hope we will have also collaborations with the AGBU and AGBU Germany and our initiative as well.
Yeah, and I hope this story, your personal journey, helped inspire others as well from our audience, because you are definitely making a long-lasting impact in the people's life, in this women's life, in this girl's life, because throughout education, then you can impact their future. So thanks a lot, Seda Jan.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.